What's up, guys? This is Phantom of Darkness, and I just wanted to say that it's an honor and joy to be your narrator. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. So first off, if you haven't guessed by the title, you may be aware that this is not the typical video of a narration that you're expecting. And I know I do the Monday video upload, so you guys are actually going to get a little bit something different, and it's something I've been meaning to do for a while, and I think with all the questions I've gotten, I gathered to this point that we can go ahead and start this now. So without further ado, hi, my name is Phantom of Darkness, and I'll virtually shake your hand, and welcome to the Q&A. If you would like to go ahead and pause the video before we begin, just to virtually shake my hand, I'll gladly accept. Anyway, guys, no, thank you so much for attending this. I'm going to treat it like it's kind of like a live stream, except it's a pre-recorded video, so in a way, I'll try to make it as interactive as possible without you actually being there present, which, by the way, I know you guys been wanting a live stream, and I can't say exactly if it's going to happen or not because, you know, indecision and whatnot, and a bunch of other things going on in my life, but no matter what, you'll always get the video, so at least there's that. Now, before we delve in and answer these questions and listen together and see how much of a weirdo I am for, you know, having certain interests that are kind of strange, I want you guys to actually participate as well. And how this is going to work is in the comment section below, you guys can answer the same exact questions. Of course, if they're not related to YouTube, I guess you can't really answer those. But, you know, for the general questions about, you know, what's your favorite food and stuff like that, if there are questions in here before. I mean, I did see some questions that are probably, you know, related to like food questions. So if you guys have any questions at all that you want to answer, go ahead, because I really believe that I value everybody, each and everybody as a person, as a human being, on the same level as me, because, you know, I'm not a perfect person. I'm not like one of these people who's super, you know, amazing or anything. Like, I'm just a person who does stories. So I really actually want to hear from you guys. So in the comment section below, please participate as well. You know, if you don't want to, you don't have to. If you just want to listen to me ramble on about completely trivial things, because I see it this way. I don't want to block off any interaction I get with you guys, because I think that every personal interaction I have with you guys is so special to me and near and dear to my heart. And I'm not just saying that. You can obviously see that I put effort into my responses when I try to respond to you guys, and that's what really matters to me. So I really want to hear about your story and your life, because I think it's really equally as important. You guys built this for me, you know. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for you guys, and I'm not just saying that, you know. Everything means a lot to me. And for me to deny you that kind of platform for you guys to speak on things that you really care about, YouTube was designed to give us a platform for us to engage, both of us, fan to creator to anybody, you know. We're all in this together, and we're all creating something special together because we're fusing our ideas together. Because in the comment section below, I know you guys help me out, give me some ideas for me to put into possible videos in the future. So, you know, even that, like, you guys do play a major role in the success of my channel. And the only way for it to get better is if you guys continue to support me. So that really means a lot. But really, the fact that I really want to interact with you guys means so much more. You know, I can get 2 more subscribers, and honestly, it wouldn't matter to me, because I want at least the, you know, the ones that are actually staying here to actually participate. If I get like 500 comments on one video and never get a subscriber anymore, you know, I don't care, because it's like the same people. If the same 500 people were interacting with me on that personal level, yeah, of course I would appreciate that, because it means a lot to me, you know? But even still, I'm so incredibly humbled by the support you guys have given me. And the fact that I'm about to reach 2 years on YouTube on the 16th of October is crazy, because I never thought I'd get to this point in which I'd have almost 6,000 subscribers who actually engage into what I'm doing and actually are patient enough to wait for me to blossom as a YouTuber, which I hope that happens. You know, I can't even properly talk in this Q&A for you guys, and this is just the intro, so you guys gotta be prepared for what I'm gonna give you next. So be careful. Anyways, you guys are gonna have a cringe fest. But anyway, guys, your opinions are always valued, no matter what you say or do, even if it's something I don't even agree with. You know, you have that's the power of free speech and being open and having a transparent conversation with you guys. It's the fact that you guys can actually have that back and forth with me and actually interact with me, whether or not I like it or not, you know. Or of course, if you want to say something positive and like happy and makes me feel good, of course you can say whatever you want. My point is, do whatever you want, say whatever you want, and just be respectful. That's all I'm asking. And you know what? I want to hear from you guys. So like I said, in the comment section below, please participate in the Q&A as well. You know, I'll leave all the questions that others have asked me. Even if it's your own question, go ahead and answer it, because you know, that's a valuable question, I think, for everybody, you know. So yeah, let's get into it before I start being even more cringier. Not that I'm saying this video won't be cringy like I just said, but you know, we'll have to deal with it either way. So these questions were gathered from the YouTube comment section of the announcement video I made not too long ago. So, you know, of course I was waiting a little bit longer to see if you guys would, you know, just actually ask questions and stuff like that. So I waited a little bit to make this video just so, you know, I can get any last second questions. So unfortunately, guys, if you were unaware that I was doing this Q&A, or you thought I was going to wait until the next millennium, fortunately that's not going to happen. I'm going to be answering your questions now. So, you know, I'll just give you a hug or something, virtual hugs, and let's get on with the questions. So the first question I'm going to answer is actually a series of questions from Bel Calampiano. I don't even know if I'm saying her last name correctly, and I apologize sincerely if I'm mispronouncing it in some shape or fashion. But if you know me, you know that I can't even talk properly, so just know that. Anyway, so she asks, have you ever experienced a dream walk? There's, you know, that one question she asked first. And I honestly have no idea what a dream walk is, because I'm ignorant. Unless, of course, you're referring to dream walk as in sleepwalking, then I know exactly what you're talking about. And I'll answer that question because I know about that. I've never actually sleepwalked before, but I'll tell you a funny story. The closest I came to sleepwalking was this one time. I don't know how my brain registered this as doing anything, but I don't know why I did this in the first place. But okay, so I had this, you know, this bookshelf, and there was some, you know, deodorant on the bookshelf. And so I was sleeping in the middle of the night, and then I woke up and kind of passively opened my, you know, deodorant and took a bite out of it. Like, honestly, I don't even know what was going through my mind at all. Like I said, I was being passive, so, you know, there was limited consciousness going on with me. I mean, I was aware of what was going on, but at the same time, I wasn't. I actually thought it was a dream. So, as soon as I took a bite out of that deodorant, I woke the hell up, and that was the end of it. And I spit it out, and it was disgusting. So that's the closest I've ever had to, you know, a sleepwalking experience. So sorry, my life isn't that interesting in that way. I'm not a sleepwalker. So the second series of questions she asks, how old are you, and why are you so good at narrating without messing up the words? And do you ever get scared while reading the stories? Okay, so first of all, I am 25. I'll be 26 in December, which makes me an old man, especially on YouTube, because, you know, the medium age of like people who are on YouTube are probably in their 20s, early 20s, maybe even teenage stage. So, you know, as me being, you know, like 26 almost, you know, I think I'm the elder statesman of the group in a way. But I know there are older people on here, but, you know, I'm just saying. And honestly, Belle, the whole thing about narrating without messing the words up, I do that all the time. I just re-recorded it over and over again until I'm satisfied with the outcome of it. So, you know, I definitely do make a lot of mistakes, you know, so the fact that you see the finished product doesn't mean before that there's no work that went into it. There's definitely a lot of work that went into it. I work 5 to 8 hours on a video, you know, and sometimes it's really difficult to get through a piece. You know, I can read something completely normally, you know, without issues, and then I can read that same sentence again a different day and completely mess up. And honestly, this Q&A that I'm actually doing right here, I've been messing up so many times already. So the fact that I even have issues with the Q&A just speaks volumes about how I deal with YouTube on a regular basis, you know, uploading videos. But that being said, I love YouTube. I love the effort required to actually put up a video because it's really rewarding. You know, it's hard work, but it's always rewarding. And I think that's what people need to understand about YouTube is no matter what, you're going to be in a situation where you're going to have to work long hours on YouTube. And a lot of times it's only for your passion. It's only for, you know, the labor of love. So there will be a point, maybe you'll be lucky enough to make money off this. You know, I really hope you do if you're listening to this and you're aspiring for YouTube. But the fact of the matter is, and I consider this my dream job, but no matter what job you have to put in a little effort in order to succeed and get what you want, you know? And I think that speaks volumes because no matter what, you can have all the talent in the world, you can be the hardest worker in the world, but guess what? the hardest worker in the world is always going to reap the benefits from someone who just has the talent and doesn't work as hard, you know. And I'm actually going to mention one of my favorite YouTubers and a friend of mine, actually, and he's awesome. And obviously I'm biased because I do like him a lot, but driving me crazy, of course, one of my first few friends on YouTube. Guy has an insanely large family, and I'm not just saying 2 kids. He has, I think, 6, if I'm not mistaken. And correct me if I'm wrong, driving me crazy, but he has 6 kids. Okay, you know how difficult it is to raise a family, especially kids, you know, and he has to go through all of that. He's raising college students now, so you know, the fact that he has to actually do that is, you know, insane. And he's time for filming and video, and he's working a full-time job, over 40 hours at least I think so, you know. And by the way, this guy vlogs, so you know how difficult it is to vlog consistently. Now, before I deviate further from the Q&A and actually get on track, I'll continue the questions. And do you ever get scared while reading the stories? Now, honestly, I'm in such a mood to actually get the stories done that I'm so focused on actually making sure it's as good as it can possibly be that sometimes I don't really pay attention to the story itself too much, and then afterwards I'll actually go over and be like, oh, okay, that was a really cool story. So like in the middle of reading the story, you know, sometimes I don't even like read the story beforehand. I just, you know, go as I go. So I'll read the story, and if it's interesting to me, I'll be like, wow, and you know, I'll have some input in it, but I don't necessarily get scared while reading the stories because I feel like I get desensitized to a certain degree. So that's why I don't. And the last set of questions she asks are actually paranormal related. So she asks, have you had any paranormal experiences, and what are your thoughts about the other side, paranormal dimension? And what about astral projection? I'm sorry for all the questions. So I'm going to answer the second half of this question because the first question I did answer before in a different Q&A, I think, or I just covered it in a different video, and you guys are going to get that answer at some point again anyway, so I'm going to answer that in a separate video. But anyway, guys, so what are your thoughts about the other side, the paranormal dimension, and what about astral projection? So my thoughts, honestly, about the other side, paranormal dimension, is the fact that I think it's very plausible that something exists beyond our realm of comprehension. And I think a lot of people always want to discredit paranormal investigations and discredit, like, you know, just typical like paranormal stuff because, you know, it could be easily explainable. But I really don't believe in that, you know, and maybe it's something that I just want to believe because it gives me hope that there is something on the other side to make us feel better about ourselves. But again, this all goes back to science, and science can't prove everything. Science never has the answer for everything, although we want to believe that it does. I mean, I'm all about science. I believe in facts, hardcore, you know, evidence and all that, but I just don't see how science can adequately, you know, describe, you know, what's going on with paranormal phenomena. I can't believe it, you know. So maybe that's just my naive mind thinking that. I don't know. But I just want to believe that there is something there. So I'll say yes, I do believe. And I also think that astral projection as well is a very complex subject, but I feel like I believe that a little bit less just from the stories I did read, but I still think it's very possible because I believe in, you know, near-death experiences, of course, and leaving your body. So, but yeah, I'll reserve judgment for that because I really don't know. And like I said, science can't figure out everything, so I'm not just going to go based off of what science believes. So I don't know. I want to believe in it, and I think it might exist, and I think it's possible, but I think it's less possible than paranormal stuff in general, like the actual, you know, ghosts and stuff, sightings, that kind of stuff, you know, even though like astral projection is in that category of paranormal. Moving on to Ice Wolfman's question, which is, what inspired you to do this? And are those your kids in the background? And really, to be honest, those are definitely not my kids in the background. And he's referring to, of course, the announcement video I made about the Q&A. So, you know, take it as you will. But anyway, what inspired you to do this? Okay, so basically, I've always wanted to be a YouTuber, and I've always wanted to do something like this, you know. Maybe not so much, you know, horror narration. I didn't even know that really existed before this, but I've always wanted to do narration in general. I've always wanted to do voice acting in general, and this was the closest thing I could do that was voice acting that I could do. So that's why I wanted to start this. Part of the reason why. Another reason being is, you know, like I said, I wanted to be a YouTuber for the longest time. I always wanted to do something that, you know, was a creative outlet for myself, so I can actually focus on something cool for once and actually do something I like for once, you know. other than, the typical 9 to 5 job, which obviously nothing wrong with that at all. I work a 9 to 5 pretty much. So, I just need a creative outlet, something extra that will actually make me happier. So, and this was YouTube that made me happier. So, it obviously was a good idea for me. So, so moving on to the next person, of course, and that's Amina. And she's been a dedicated subscriber for the longest time. And, we have our exchanges and we talk just like I talk with all of you guys, equally. So, so the most beautiful place you've been is where? And that question is difficult to answer because I haven't traveled shit. I haven't been anywhere really, but I'll answer it in a different way. I'll say the most beautiful place I've ever been is a place where I can spend time with my family and actually get along with them, and everything's blissful and everything's beautiful. So 2 last questions from Amina as well, and those are, do you prefer to have regrets or remorse in life? And if money did not matter, what would you do in life one day? And honestly, these are great questions, at least to me, but I think the first question is going to be a little cheesy and people are going to be rolling their eyes and being like, what? Why would you say that? Because everyone says that. But really, honestly, I prefer not to have any regrets in life, because if you have regrets, that means you've done something wrong or you feel guilty of something. I personally feel like no matter what decision I've previously made in my life, it's all led me up to this point and who I am today. And I also think that no matter what, you always have to consider the little things you have done in your life that you might not think are significant, because they all lead you to this one spot. And that's how I see it, honestly. And I think regrets are something that you shouldn't have just in general, because no matter what, you can't spend your life living in what ifs and what should have been and what, you have to move on at some point. You have to evolve from that stage. And every horrible thing that has occurred in your life is just a stage of learning and an experience to grow further from that and to evolve and to spread your wings in a different direction so you don't make those mistakes again. Or, just learn a lot from that so you can actually be a better person as a whole. So I think, honestly, no matter what you do in life, always should be happy about what you're doing. Always do what you want to do, because that's really important. Do what you want now and don't worry about what other people think, honestly. I think, if you get caught up in worrying about what other people think, regardless of how they feel about you, you shouldn't have to worry about that. There are people in this world that want to see you down, and it's sad, but it's reality. Some people just want to live in their, reality bubble and think that, everything has to be between the lines and inside this bubble. But, you always got to do what you think is best for yourself, and not what other people expect you to do. And of course, I'm not the say-all, be-all, whatever you want to call it. I know for a fact that I'm still learning and I still have a lot more to learn in this life. So, being only 25, I still have much more growth and improvement to make. So, I'm not the most important person in the world. I'm not the person who knows everything in life, and I'll never be that person. So, but those are just my thoughts and what I believe and how I see the world and how I see myself as an individual. So, take it as you will. But if money did not matter, what would you do in life one day? And honestly, for me personally, and maybe that's just because, I still currently live with my parents. Yep. Working still a lot, but I honestly believe that, money shouldn't be the most important thing in the world. And I think people get away from that a lot, and they always think money, because, they're obsessed with money. But there's nothing wrong with wanting money, but you should not be obsessed with money in the sense that you would do anything for money, because that's when it can get destructive. That's not to say I don't like material possessions, because I do. I'm human. I like, the big fancy, expensive gadgets that you see on the market and all this and that. But in the end, I always question whether I actually need it, and what's more important, developing strong relationships and friendships, or the latter, which is, being obsessed with cars, money, just homes, really obtaining your status in life, because that doesn't really matter. In the end, we're all going to be in the same grave. Maybe not the same grave, I hope not, but in the end, we're going to a place where material possessions don't even matter at that point, and we're not going to be able to use them for any reason. So, if we're going to be gone one day, why not just live for the now and live life to the fullest and see what you can do with your life that you have now in terms of people and meeting new people and, having good experiences and just being a good person, working on your character and integrity, because that's what we need more in life. We need people who are good and who want to fight the horrible things, the horrible bad things in the world. We need the good to override the bad. That's what we need. So next question is actually from Lelania Pruitt. I mispronounce everything, so if I butchered her name yet again, then I'm so sorry. But hey, Phantom of Darkness, would you ever be interested in doing a live Hallows Eve storytelling? Oh, and I love your channel too. So basically, all I have to say about that is I'm really horrible at live readings anyway. I mess up like tremendously. I mess up so many times, so I don't think I'll be able to do that kind of thing. But I would be interested in trying at least, I guess, maybe one story or something just, on my own. But if it doesn't go well, I'm not going to continue it. So I would never, I would honestly just not do that kind of thing. And yeah, I know people are going to be like, hey, Phantom, you should be open to new experiences and trying new things and everything. But I suck at reading live. And I think I'm not the only person who thinks that way. I think you get better as you do it, but maybe, I don't know, like I'm really indecisive, so I might say like one day I'll do it, but then I won't, so I don't know. That's a really difficult question to answer because I'm not sure if I can, and also my internet is really shitty anyway, so I mean, with that kind of connection, I don't even know if a live stream is even possible, at least at my house, So of course, we're moving on to the next question, which is by MZCatMac, which actually we just started interacting with each other, and she's a nice subscriber of mine, new subscriber, and she came from the Angry Toad stream of Forco, which, by the way, Forco is a great guy, and you should definitely check out his channel because he does some amazing content. And I mean, like with streams, I just got into his stuff, and actually he's a really cool guy, so go ahead and like check him out and you won't be disappointed because he does a lot of cool streams. So her questions are, where do you look for your stories that you do, and who did your makeup and your AVI? And so basically, where do I look for stories? Well, I actually try to get the most obscure stories from like the 90s. I know that sounds really weird, but like I actually try to find like stories that obviously are unique and haven't been read, to death. And I prefer to stay away from Reddit because I think that's what most people do. And not saying that there aren't good stories on there. I just think that the only way I can separate my channel from, the others is to actually try my best to find stories that are new and refreshing and that you guys haven't heard, because who wants stories that have been read over and over again to death? And honestly, I know there are good stories out there. I know personally that I'm a fan of stories that I like to read that are new. And I also get that other people do things in their own voice. They put their own spin on it, and that's cool too. But for me personally, and I'm not hating on anybody else because I think they do a remarkable job. Like, no matter what, you can redo a classic story and it'll be like it's new, okay? But for me personally, I just like the feeling of knowing that all the stories are new and they're brand new. And I feel like that's what I started my channel on in a way. Like when I started, the true scary story stuff, like I did hear a couple of the same stories, and I just wanted something refreshing for you guys for a change, and I hope I'm doing my best to actually provide you with that benefit, but that's just how I am, Like I said, I love a lot of people who actually do the stories, and yeah, sure, if it's been read before, it doesn't mean it's the worst thing in the world, A lot of people prefer, like, hearing the same stories too at the same time, but there are those who don't, and I want to be the voice of the person who, doesn't want to hear the same stories. I want to be the voice that actually goes, I want to be mint chocolate chip, even though there's chocolate and vanilla, and those are great flavors, I just want that alternative option for you guys. And of course, the last question she asks is, who did your makeup and your AVI? And of course, she's talking about my avatar for YouTube. So, honestly, that image is just, a Snapchat that I took a long time ago, a couple of years ago, maybe last year. So I don't know. I don't remember. But I took it, and it's actually, not makeup at all. So that answers the question. So moving forward with Katie World XYX question, and she asks, what would personally be your worst nightmare? And by the way, you should definitely check out her channel. She's another narrator who I think you should check out. But I personally think that, what would be my personal worst nightmare is actually losing YouTube and losing all this and losing all my subscribers and losing all the progress I've had, because you guys obviously mean a lot to me and this is my life now. So, I don't want to ever lose this, and drowning would probably be another fear of mine, Alright, so moving on to another set of questions by Yangry811. And of course, if I mispronounced it, I'm sorry. But he asks, which of the two do you find creepier, Wendigos or Fleshgates? Also, will you be doing stories of them in the future? Please. Anyway, I think Wendigos are actually creepier than Fleshgates, only because I only know about Wendigos. I don't know that much about Fleshgates, but Wendigos just seem so scary anyway, so I'll go with that answer. And I'll be willing to do, stories of them in the future as long as, they haven't been read before, and they're newer stories. So, of course, that will be, obviously a choice that I will have to make if, of course, if I can find some refreshing new stories. Moving on to the next set of questions by Dollface Killa Angelo. Again, pronunciation and all, if I got that wrong, I'm sorry. But anyway, another question. Are you related to Darkness Prevails? Because you look like you could be his little brother. And honestly, I'm definitely not related at all to him. He's a great narrator. I love his narrations and everything, but definitely not related to him. So you can just take that as you will. But anyway, Miss Monster wants to ask, will you ever give us another fantastic ASMR clip? P.S. Thanks for being a great friend. So, okay, there was this little thing I did on Twitter. It was a fake ASMR clip where basically I was just like messing around and I was going like, I'm, blah, blah, blah. My name is AMSR guy. And, so basically that was just like a silly little thing I did. So probably won't do another fantastic ASMR clip, even though it's in demand. But you never know in the future. Oh, and by the way, you should totally check out Miss Monster. She has some of the best content on YouTube, period. So you should definitely check her out and subscribe to her because she is a horror narrator that you would love. So check her out. And she's a great friend of mine. So, on YouTube, you should definitely check her out. Never, never say never because she's awesome. And of course, moving on to another question by Jose Cuvis, who is a great subscriber of mine. He's been here for a while now, I think. So he asks, what other narrator do you really want to work with that you haven't had a chance to? That's actually a really good question because, I have a couple that I'm thinking of, but really what I want to do is actually collab with Top 15s, aka Chills, at least once or twice because he seems pretty cool and he is following me on Twitter and I think he knows I exist, but we don't really talk that much. But it would be so cool if we did something together. And I don't know if you agree that you like him too, but he's an awesome content creator and I don't care what people say about his voice. I like his voice personally. I like his content. He's got good stuff, and there's a reason why he has over 1 million subscribers. And the reason why I want to work with him is not because of the subscriber count. I just always thought he was cool. So that and Horror Studio One, and again, just like wanting to work with him, because he seems pretty cool, and don't really talk to him as much either, but those are my top two, I guess, collaborators that I would want to work with. But, I'm always willing to work with, smaller channels than me. But yeah, those are definitely the top two that I would like to collaborate with, for obvious reasons that I just stated. So hope that answers your question. And I appreciate you actually sending in that question for me to answer. That was a good one. And of course, another dedicated subscriber named Dave J, who's been here for a while, asks, do you believe in Goatman, Bunnyman, those types of legends? And I'll have to answer, yeah, I do believe in Goatman. I do believe in Bunnyman, but I don't know if our perception of it is actually the reality of it. I think it could be something completely different, but in the same vein of that particular, idea, if that makes any sense. Like Goatman is Goatman, but maybe not the Goatman that we think. And so, no. That's what I believe. And his other question is, have you written any short horror themed stories? If so, can you share? And yeah, I kind of wrote one thing. It was actually a zombie story. Basically, it kind of had the 30 Days of Night kind of feel to it, where basically there was something in the water, and during the nighttime, these zombies actually turn, but in the morning they're completely normal people. So that's basically the blueprint of that idea, the horror themed story that I wrote. I don't know if I can share it because I don't know if I still have it, but I wrote that story a while ago. And his last question is actually a really good question, and he asks, have you or would you ever want to meet other story collaborators? And honestly, yeah, of course I would want to meet them, but if they want to, that's totally up to them. I'd be down for meeting them any day. And I've never met any of them before, so that would be a really cool opportunity. And not just, just the collaborators of, stories and stuff like that, but other people I've collabed with in the past, or just, story narrators, just outside of the genre. I would like to work with, people like an in-person collab kind of thing. That would be cool. All right, so we're getting closer to the end, I think, but Elena Henderson Minister is actually asking another question. So her question is actually, I have a question. Do your parents like what you're doing? Thanks. And that's a really simple question. I think, yeah, they do. They're pretty supportive of what I do, but they don't really understand how it works. But for the most part, they understand that, it's a thing that I'm really serious about, and it's something that I actually do consistently. So they try to keep quiet as much as possible when I'm recording, but obviously that doesn't always work out. But yeah, I would say they're really supportive and they like what I'm doing. And moving on to another question by Skyla Sampson, and she asks, "Hi Phantom, I love your content and you seem cool. Do you like Stephen King books and movies? I'm a huge fan of his. Take care." And yeah, actually, I was a big fan of that It movie that I just recently saw. I've never actually read the book, so I don't know how that's like, but I do like his movies, and I like his adaptations, rather. They're not literally his movies, but yeah, I would say he does some really good books, and, Carrie is one of my favorites that I actually like. I saw the movie and read a little bit of the book. But yeah, good question, because I actually do need to read more of his books, because I've only seen more movie adaptations of his, which aren't really his movies or his stuff. But, the books are what he is known for, obviously. Without, the books, there wouldn't be any of the movies. So definitely going to check his out more. So at this point, I'm going to actually read less questions. Unfortunately, I do understand that like some of you actually have, tons of questions, but there's only a limited amount of time, and maybe I'll like do a part 2 and like answer the rest of those questions. And I really apologize for that, because it seems like, I'm favoriting someone else over, another person, which isn't the case at all. I favorite everybody, the same. So that's not really favoritism. But anyway, I'll pick out the best questions, I think, from each person from now on. So Reed asks, "How much time do you dedicate to YouTube, and how does it balance out your personal work and life?" So basically, I have a regular job, like anybody else. I work, over 30 hours, the 40 hours, and it actually is pretty favorable for the most part for me. I have my time to record, but of course, there are only so many hours in the day that I can actually have time to record. So at the same time, it can be kind of stressful, but I try to make do with what I can. So, that's why you guys get the 2, videos a week, that I always try to do. But as for personal life as well, that also factors into the equation, because I do have a life, and I try my best to make sure that everything is balanced out equally, so I'm not trying to favorite one aspect of my life over another, because I do love YouTube, but there's also more things in life than YouTube. Personal life is important too. So, but I love YouTube, like I said, so that's what matters most. And of course, another question from Chauvinism, and he's actually a good YouTuber. You should definitely check out his channel as well. I know I've been saying, oh, you should check this person's channel out, but these people are amazing. So he's actually a professional actor, and he also does YouTube. So he does vlogs, comedy skits. Well, I guess everything he does is a vlog, because filming yourself is a vlog, I guess, technically. But check out his channel. He's got good stuff. If you like comedy skits and all that, he does the Queen, which is really cool too, like impression of Queen. So you should definitely check him out. But so he asks, if you had an unlimited budget to make a horror film, what would be the synopsis, or at least what would it be about within the subgenres of horror? And honestly, I've been thinking a little bit about this, because I've seen his question earlier, and I've had at least a week to think about this. But I don't know if this would be classified as the horror category, but I was thinking more along the lines of, okay, there's this guy, and he actually has a twin, but the twin is his evil twin, and basically it goes to work for him, even though his twin, his good twin, is actually locked in the basement and he's being tortured. And and meanwhile, the evil twin is living his life. He's obviously not the successful twin. The evil twin is the horrible one that obviously wants to have all his benefits and all everything that's good about him. So basically he wants to live his life, and basically because he looks so identical to the other twin, it's not going to make a difference to him whether or not he's going to get spotted, and people are going to find out that this other guy's been tortured, and it's not really the twin that they think he is. So I have no idea if that even fits under horror category, or even if that makes sense, but that's what I was thinking of. So of course, we reached the end of the Q&A session, and I really appreciate everybody who's contributed to this. Really appreciate all the questions, even the questions that I wasn't able to get to, and I really appreciate it. and I'm so sorry that I wasn't able to get to it in time, but I'll definitely like reach out to you guys through text and actually, instead of like with my voice, I'll answer, personally to the questions that I didn't reach. Um, in the meantime, so it doesn't feel like you guys are feeling neglected or anything, because I care about you guys too, and like I said, it doesn't make you any less valuable than other people I answered the questions from. So you guys are just as important to me, and I really want you to know that. So don't think that, of course, I'm picking anybody over another person. So to Claire Strange, Pretty Flutter by Star, Carrie, Rain, you guys are awesome. Thank you for sending in those questions. Amber Girl, of course. Just not sure if I'm pronouncing this right, but Goki Erkan with the pizza questions, which I see a bunch of them on here. But yeah, and Springtrap, and of course Pumpkin Joanne, Angela, of course Sam the Great, Elisa McGuff. You were in the hospital earlier, and I hope that you're doing a lot better. So all you guys, and especially the subscribers that actually didn't, have a chance to actually ask me questions, but I know you're watching, and I know that you look forward to my videos. Shout out to all you guys. Kitty Baby, I can't name all 6,000 all at once, but you guys mean a lot to me. So thank you so much for actually tuning in, and I hope you guys watched all of this. I don't think you will, but maybe you'll surprise me, and maybe be able to listen to my cringy video. But thank you so much, and good night, good morning, and I'll see you in the next video. And hopefully I'm not as cringy in the future, but it's probably Phantom, who always is anyway. So yeah, it's probably gonna happen in the future. So see ya.